Sofaygo has been teasing his new EP, which to this point is titled as Plus Sign. I'm not sure if it's called Plus or something that he'll announce later. Sofaygo, as I've discussed before, has lost tons of hype from when he first blew up back in 2019-2020 era. He of course signed with Travis Scott Cactus Jack label in early 2021 and didn't release Pink Hearts until late 2022. Now, personally, I liked Pink Hearts a lot. However, that doesn't change the fact that Sofaygo took far too long to release that album after announcing it just after signing with Travis Scott. And to recap a bit more, Sofaygo sold around 7,000 first week with Pink Hearts, which only helped the narrative starting online that Sofaygo was falling off, or that Cactus Jack was starting to ruin him. Then, about a month or so after the release of Pink Hearts, Sofaygo went on his secondary Instagram account and went on a huge rant about fans being disappointed with Pink Hearts. I talked about this when this happened, and I have the same thoughts that Sofaygo should just not respond to the fans and learn from what the fans are criticizing him for and continue on with his life. However, Sofaygo is young, and I understand that putting in all that work for an album just for people to hate online could really get to someone and make them very upset, especially at their fans. Now, fast forward to a couple months later, and Sofaygo announced that he was going on tour with Nav. Personally, I thought this was an okay move at the time. However, I had concerns. I was a bit worried that Nav fans wouldn't necessarily like or know who Sofaygo is. And here we are now. As we've seen, there have been multiple times during this tour with Nav that Sofaygo, when performing, the crowd is just dead. I've seen Sofaygo live with Trippie Redd back in 2021 on the Trip at Night tour, so I can personally say that Sofaygo is not a terrible performer. He was not I personally thought he had good stage presence, was rapping most of the lyrics, and was, interactive with the crowd pretty good. At least during that concert. I can't speak to how he's been during the Nav tour because I have not seen him on that tour. I would also like to add that being an opener for an artist like Trippie Redd made much more sense in my opinion than Nav. I just don't think the type of fans that will show up to a Nav show would be messing with Sofaygo. And here we are. Sofaygo is getting more bad narrative because of bad performances. Now I would like to add, just as a quick side note, I have only seen the bad performances, so if any of you guys have seen Sofaygo when he's been on the Nav tour and you thought, wow, Sofaygo actually was pretty good, or you have some clips, send them to me on Twitter or whatever, or, link me good videos that you posted of it on YouTube, because I've only ever seen bad performances from him on this tour, and I just think it's feeding into this narrative that's started a while back, that Sofaygo's just fallen off and he's just not that guy anymore, and it's sad because he is a good artist. I also talked about in past videos about how Travis Scott announced that Utopia would be coming soon, but first there would be a new Sofaygo EP. So when Travis Scott announced that, it pretty much confirmed that we would not be getting a Pink Hearts Deluxe like Sofaygo teased before. Which I'm totally fine with this move, as I personally think he needed to get away from the Pink Hearts aesthetic now. So here we are, somewhat soon to the release of his EP. That is, if the rumor of Travis Scott releasing Utopia in June is true. And I would assume, depending on the timeline Travis Scott has right now, he's gonna have Sofaygo release his EP sometime in either April or May. And to talk about why I titled this video, How Much Hype Does Sofaygo Really Have, is because I have been pondering this question on how much hype does Sofaygo really have right now? And when I start to think about the answer, I can't help but think it's not very much. Yes, Sofaygo has a song in Hell Yeah that has been doing really well streams wise. However, I never see any type of conversations online about Sofaygo that are positive. So anyone who tunes in to the Sofaygo EP when it releases wouldn't even care, because all they ever see about a Sofaygo online is him getting clowned. When it's sad, because Sofaygo has very good songs and some very good music and deserves a lot better in my opinion. I think it's very smart to have Sofaygo release his EP and then an album, so he can get a feel for his hype again before another album. People generally online do not look down upon low first week sales of an EP, usually. However, with albums, people will clown you if your first week sales are lower than what you expected. Sofaygo getting a feel of what his hype is with this EP is really smart in my opinion, and hopefully he gets more songs like Hell Yeah that can blow up the streams of the EP and then maybe get a Travis Scott feature on Utopia. Then if all that happens, I could see Sofaygo really start to blow up more. And then if we see another Sofaygo album, and hopefully that album does well, then we could see a huge switch in the narrative around Sofaygo. I think what is the most important thing to this whole rollout for Sofaygo and the next album is getting that Travis Scott feature on Utopia, honestly. We all saw what happened with Don Toliver with his feature on Can't Say for Astroworld. Don Toliver absolutely exploded and is still doing well, even though he just had a rough first week with Lovesick. But Sofaygo could see similar types of returns on his career if he gets a feature on Utopia and has a good feature as well, like Don Toliver did. That's all I've got for today. Let me know what you think about this take about how much hype Sofaygo really does have right now. Also, let me know how hyped you are for this new Sofaygo EP, and thanks for watching.